5 years. That's how long Mark and I were together. 5 years of laughter, shared dreams, and what I thought was undeniable love. We were set to get married. Our families were thrilled, our friends already referring to us as the perfect couple. It was supposed to be the happiest time of our lives, but things changed. I'm Anna, 25 female, a graphic designer. Mark, 28 male, is a musician. I've always dreamed of a stable future, owning a home, building a career, creating something lasting. Mark, on the other hand, thrives on independence. He loves his music, the unpredictability of gigs, the excitement of chasing a dream. I admired that about him. But at some point, I started wondering if our dreams really fit together. That question became impossible to ignore when I got an incredible job offer in another state. It wasn't just any job. It was the kind of opportunity that could change my entire career trajectory. I remember the night I told Mark. I got offered this position, I said, barely able to contain my excitement. It's huge for my career. His face fell. Another state? Anna, what about us? What about the wedding? I swallowed hard. I was hoping maybe you'd come with me. He shifted uncomfortably. You know I can't just leave my band, Anna. We're just getting started. I understood, but I couldn't turn this job down, and he wasn't willing to leave his music behind. We agreed to try long distance, reassuring each other that love was enough. But deep down, something felt off. That uneasy feeling grew stronger the night of his bachelor party. I called him, hoping to hear his voice, but he seemed distracted. I brushed it off, told myself it was just the chaos of the night. Later, when he didn't answer my calls, I tried one more time. The line connected, but he didn't realize I was still there. And that's when I heard it. I don't know if I can do this. Mark's voice was heavy. I love Anna, but I'm not sure I'm ready for marriage, and this job offer of hers is making things even more complicated. Another voice, Liam, his best friend, responded, You can't back out now, man. Everyone's expecting this. Plus, think about all the financial benefits, including the wedding. Anna's parents are paying for it, remember? You need the stability, especially with your music. Mark let out a deep sigh. I know, but I feel like I'm being pushed into this. I don't want to hurt Anna, but I also don't want to sacrifice my dreams. I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. Was he really marrying me out of obligation, for money? Not because he truly wanted to. I spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, replaying those words in my mind. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I wrote Mark a letter, pouring my heart out. I told him I loved him, but that I couldn't marry someone who wasn't sure about me. That I needed someone who was just as excited about our future as I was. Then I packed a bag and drove to my parents' house. Hours later, Mark showed up at my parents' door looking desperate. I agreed to meet him at the park nearby, my heart pounding the whole way there. Anna, I'm so sorry, he said the moment he saw me. I've been selfish, I've been foolish, I am scared of commitment. But I do love you. I don't want to lose you. I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Mark, I heard you. I heard what you said to Liam. He ran a hand through his hair, guilt flashing across his face. It wasn't like that. I was just, I don't know, panicking. But it doesn't mean I don't want us. I do. I looked at him, really looked at him. The man I had loved for 5 years. The man who had been my best friend, my safe place, but also the man who had doubts, who wasn't sure. I need time, Mark, I said, my voice shaking. I need to figure out if we can ever truly be on the same page. And then, for the first time in 5 years, I walked away. The next few months were painful. I threw myself into my new job, trying to rebuild my life in a new city. I made friends. I explored. I learned how to be alone again. I missed Mark, but I also knew I had done the right thing. I heard through mutual friends that he was dedicating himself to his music more than ever. He had started performing at bigger venues, finally getting the recognition he had been working so hard for. Then, one evening, I got a message from him, an invitation to his concert. In my city. At first I wasn't sure if I should go, but curiosity and something deeper pushed me to say yes. That night, as I stood in the crowd watching him on stage, I saw a different version of Mark, confident, passionate, completely in his element. He wasn't the unsure man I had left behind. He had found himself. After the show, we met backstage, and for the first time in a long time, we really talked about everything.
We realized that our paths had diverged for a reason, that we needed that time apart to grow into the people we were meant to be. We weren't meant to be husband and wife, but we could still be something else, friends, supporters, a part of each other's stories, even if not in the way we once imagined. As we hugged goodbye, there was no bitterness, no regret, just closure. It wasn't the ending I had planned, but it was the right one. I was betrayed by the man I loved, but I didn't just walk away. No, that would have been too easy. I made him regret it. 4 years. That's how long I loved Daniel. 4 years of building a life together, supporting his dreams, putting us before everything else. I thought we were solid. I thought we had something unbreakable. I was wrong. We were 3 weeks from our wedding when I received the job offer of a lifetime, a senior marketing strategist position in London. It was the dream I'd spent years working for. I was ecstatic. I thought Daniel would be too. I was wrong again. I'm Sophia, 26, female, a marketing strategist. Daniel, 28, male, is an architect. We met fresh out of college, both ambitious dreamers ready to take on the world together, or at least, that's what I thought. And I was wrong again. The night I told him, we were at our favorite restaurant, a little Italian place where we'd celebrated anniversaries. I was practically glowing with excitement. I got the offer, I said, barely able to contain my joy. It's everything I've worked for. Daniel set down his drink, his expression unreadable. London. I nodded, expecting him to smile, to celebrate with me. Instead, he sighed, rubbing his temples. Soph, my work is here. My life is here. You're really considering leaving. I felt a strange, unsettling shift in my stomach. Daniel, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I thought we'd figure this out together. His eyes darkened. We already have a future planned here. Marriage means stability, not running off to another country. The way he said running off, like I was reckless, like I was being selfish, sent a cold shiver through me. But I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to believe that the man I loved would hold me back. So I compromised. I suggested doing long distance for a while. I even offered to fly back regularly. He agreed, or so I thought. The betrayal that changed everything. 2 weeks before the wedding, Daniel went out for his bachelor party. I didn't check in on him, didn't question where he was. Until I woke up at 2 a.m. with an uneasy feeling in my chest. I called him. No answer. I tried again. Voicemail. The third time, he picked up, but I don't think he realized it. The line was still open. I heard laughter, clinking glasses, muffled voices. Then Daniel's voice, low and conflicted. I don't know if I can do this, man. Another male voice, probably his best friend Liam, responded, cold feet. That's normal, bro. Daniel exhaled. No, it's more than that. I love Sophia, but she's too much sometimes. Too ambitious. Too independent. She'll move to London, and I'll just be left behind. Liam laughed. Dude, she has always supported you through everything, and think about the financial stability she'll bring in. I know, Daniel said, voice heavy. But I feel like I'm not ready this. I love her, but I don't think I'm in love with her anymore. Then, the voice of a woman. Flirty. Close. Too close. Then don't marry her. My blood ran cold. There was silence. Then, the unmistakable sound of kissing. I hung up. I sat there, gripping my phone, feeling like the entire world had collapsed around me. Daniel wasn't marrying me for love. He wasn't even ready to marry me anymore just 2 weeks to our wedding and after 4 whole years of our lives. And worse, he was already entertaining someone else before we even said, I do. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. Instead, I started planning. The next morning, I acted normal. I smiled. I kissed Daniel when he got home, pretending I hadn't just heard him betray me. Because I wanted him to feel safe. I wanted him to think everything was fine. And then, I called my wedding planner. Cancel everything, I said smoothly. But don't tell Daniel yet. Then I sent anonymous screenshots of the call recording to Daniel's closest friends and family, including his parents. No explanation. Just the raw truth. The day before the wedding, we had a bridal brunch with family and close friends. Everyone was there. Everyone except Daniel. He thought it was just another pre-wedding event. I stood up, champagne flute in hand, and cleared my throat. I want to thank you all for being here today, I said, my voice steady. But there's been a change of plans. Confused murmurs filled the air. I turned to Daniel's parents, my smile sharp. I'd like to personally thank you for your kindness. Unfortunately, there won't be a wedding tomorrow. A stunned silence. Daniel, who had just walked in, froze in the doorway. Daniel won't be marrying me, I continued. Because he's been too busy kissing other women and telling his friends that I'm too ambitious to be a good wife. Gasps. His mother turned pale. His father's face twisted in fury. Daniel's eyes widened in sheer panic. Sophia, wait. I held up a hand. No, Daniel, I'm done waiting. You weren't marrying me for love. You were marrying me for security, for the financial benefits, and I deserve better than that. Then, I turned to the guests and smiled. Enjoy the food and drinks, everyone. This is now Sophia's new beginning party. Applause, laughter, and Daniel. He just stood there, watching the life he took for granted slip through his fingers. The next day, I boarded my flight to London. At first, I threw myself into work. But soon, I started living. I traveled. I made new friends. I went on dates, but this time, I wasn't looking for validation. I was choosing myself first. One night, months later, my phone buzzed. Daniel, I'm sorry. I miss you. Can we talk? I stared at the screen for a long moment. Then, I typed a response. Me, no, we can't. But I hope you learn from this. I hit send. Then, I turned off my phone and went to dinner with a man who actually valued me. Because I wasn't the woman who begged for love anymore. I was the woman who chose herself. And that was the best revenge of all. I once believed that family meant loyalty. That blood meant trust. I was wrong. Because the person who betrayed me the most wasn't a stranger. It wasn't a lover. My name is Olivia Blackwood, and I used to believe in loyalty. I used to believe that family meant something, that blood meant trust. But at 27 years old, I learned the hardest lesson of my life. Loyalty is just a word, and blood. It doesn't mean a damn thing. Because the person who betrayed me wasn't even a stranger. It was Jude, my brother, my big brother. The one who raised me when our parents died. The one who taught me how to fight, how to stand my ground. And the one who, at 31 years old, stole everything I had worked for, our company, my money, my name, and left me with nothing. But if he thought I was going to stay down, he never really knew me at all. It all started on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were usually quiet, predictable. I spent most of the day in meetings, running numbers, planning expansions. That evening, I was still in my office when Eva, my assistant, knocked on the door. She never knocked. I looked up, frowning. What's wrong? She hesitated, then stepped inside, closing the door behind her. Olivia, she said carefully, I think you need to see this. She placed a tablet in front of me. I glanced at the screen, then froze. Breaking news, Blackwood Enterprises under new management. Jude Blackwood named sole CEO. I stared at it, my mind struggling to process. Sole CEO. That wasn't possible. I scrolled further, reading the article. Then my stomach dropped. Jude had filed new ownership documents. He had transferred every asset, every account, every piece of my company, into his name. And I had never even seen the paperwork. I tried to breathe. Eva, I said slowly, tell me this is a mistake. She swallowed hard. I wish I could. I pushed back from my desk, grabbed my phone, and dialed Jude. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Nothing. A sharp knock sounded on my office door. Before I could respond, 2 security guards stepped inside. Men I hired. Miss Blackwood, one of them said, looking uncomfortable, we've been asked to escort you out of the building. I stared at them, barely hearing Eva's sharp intake of breath beside me. You're kidding, I said flatly. The second guard shook his head. I'm sorry, but per the new ownership directive, you no longer have authorization to be here. The words barely registered. New ownership directive. No longer authorized. I let out a breathless laugh. Jude had really done it. The security guards shifted awkwardly, as if hoping I would start screaming, maybe cause a scene. But I didn't. I stood up, grabbed my bag, and walked out. Because if Jude thought he had won, he was about to learn exactly who he was messing with. For the first week, I did nothing. I didn't call him, didn't speak to anyone. I just sat with the weight of the betrayal. Jude and I had been through everything together. When our parents died, he was the one who held my hand at the funeral. When I had my first heartbreak, he was the one who swore to break the guy's face. When I doubted myself, he was the one who told me I could do anything. And now, he was the one who had ripped my world apart. The worst part, he had been planning it for months. I replayed every conversation, every moment I had dismissed as nothing. The way he had slowly pushed me out of key meetings. The way he had been meeting with lawyers behind my back. I had trusted him blindly. And he had used that trust to stab me in the heart. But grief was useless. Tears wouldn't bring my company back. So after 7 days, I got up, took a shower, put on my best suit, and I got to work. Jude thought I would disappear, that I would accept my fate and walk away quietly. But I built Blackwood Enterprises. Not him, me. And if I built it once, I could tear him apart. So I started making calls. I reached out to every investor, every connection, every person who had once worked for me. I dug into the fine print of his contracts, looking for weak spots. I turned his closest allies against him, one by one. And then, when he was at his most vulnerable, I delivered the final blow. The night before the final board meeting, I sent Jude a message. Meet me, midnight, you know where. His reply came immediately. Don't do this, Olivia. I smiled. Too late. He was already waiting when I arrived at our old rooftop. The place we used to sneak up to as kids, dreaming about the future. For a moment, I almost felt something close to nostalgia. Then I remembered what he had done. Jude turned when he heard my footsteps. He looked tired. You've been busy, he said, forcing a smirk. I tilted my head. Did you really think I wouldn't fight back? He sighed. Olivia, I did what I had to do. Had to. I repeated. You stole everything from me, Jude. You betrayed me. And for what? He looked away. I stepped closer. Say it, I challenged. Tell me why. His jaw clenched. Because I was tired of being second to you. I exhaled slowly. You were never second. He scoffed. I was always second. Always in your shadow. And instead of building your own legacy, I said coldly, you decided to steal mine. Silence stretched between us. Finally, I sighed. You know what the worst part is? He looked up. I would have given you everything, I whispered. All you had to do was ask. Jude's expression faltered, but it was too late. The next morning, I walked into the final board meeting and took back everything. Jude lost it all, his title, his power, his name. And me. I walked away without looking back. 6 months later, he called me. I let it go to voicemail. Because some betrayals, they don't deserve forgiveness. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an amazing story.